Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to validate that persistent nagging friction you feel when working a traditional job by decoding the hidden psychology behind the modern side hustle. And spoiler alert, it's really not just about buying a nicer car. If you've ever felt like the traditional corporate path just kind of doesn't sit right with your brain, I want you to know right off the bat that you are absolutely not alone. We're going to unpack the exact science of why some of us are intensely driven to build our own streams of income, not just for the money, but for something much, much deeper. Okay, let's just dive right into this. Have you ever felt a deep, almost physical anxiety at the thought of relying on a single paycheck from a boss? Like if the Sunday scaries feel more like a genuine survival threat because your entire livelihood rests in the hands of one unpredictable manager? Listen, you aren't broken. You aren't unemployable. Your brain is actually working exactly as it should. Society loves to label people who resist the 9 to 5 as difficult or, antisocial, but the truth, your nervous system is simply reacting to an environment it perceives as genuinely unsafe. Science-backed insights into applied behavioral psychology point to something called survival independence. Basically, this is a psychological state where your nervous system only feels truly safe when you are in total control of your own income. What this means is you've outgrown the need for external protection and you've literally become your own source of safety. You adapted to a point where being your own boss isn't just a career preference, it's a fundamental physiological requirement for your peace of mind. Let's move to Section 1, the 9 to 5 anxiety trap. So, why exactly does the corporate environment feel so incredibly alarming to your nervous system in the first place? Well, it really comes down to an external locus of control. Traditional employment forces you to put your survival in someone else's hands, which creates massive hidden mental stress. Why? Because your brain views a manager's whim or a company's shifting priorities as a single point of failure. It's a direct threat to your basic safety. On the flip side, we have internal control. This is where you have total autonomy and you actually own the systems. This is where your brain actually wants to live, because you are the one steering the ship.
That brings us to Section 2, Roots of Survival Independence.
The crucial point here is understanding exactly where this intense, deep-seated need to own your financial security systems actually comes from. It doesn't just happen by accident. For many, it starts incredibly early in life and is often directly linked to a concept called parentification. Just imagine being a kid and having to manage responsibilities or emotional outbursts of adults in your house. Because you had to manage your own world way before you were ready, your nervous system learned super early on that external authorities simply aren't reliable. You learned that if you wanted to be secure, well, you had to be the one providing it. Now, the long-term result of that childhood environment is a high-functioning adaptation. While this intense self-reliance can sometimes lead to an adult feeling like a guilt for needing help from others, it's also a superpower. It uniquely adapts you into a highly functional person capable of building quiet, autonomous systems. You can create passive income assets and run businesses without needing the constant handholding or external validation that so many others require. All right, Section 3, Control equals psychological safety. What's really interesting here is how this completely flips the societal script on what the word safe actually means. Society tells us a steady job is safe, right? It's predictable. But for this specific psychological archetype, control equals safety. Look at the steady job side. Loud corporate environments are just exhausting to someone wired for independence. Navigating office politics can literally feel like playing a game of emotional dodgeball. But moving over to control, organizing your own assets reduces all that internal friction. It eliminates the noise and creates a genuinely safe environment for your brain to operate in. I absolutely love this insight from the research. Building your own business is far, far more than a financial tool. It acts as a literal psychological shield, protecting your bandwidth. Your side hustle is the barrier standing between your nervous system and the unpredictability of the outside world. It lets you breathe easily, knowing for sure that you can take care of yourself no matter what happens in the broader economy. Moving on to Section 4, Protecting Cognitive Bandwidth. To maintain that protective shield we were just talking about, highly self-reliant people absolutely must fiercely guard their mental energy from outside interference. They actively protect their cognitive bandwidth by practicing digital minimalism, literally hiding their phones to avoid notifications. And they deliberately ignore all that social media noise. They focus relentlessly on deep work and use the 90-minute rule to perfectly align their side hustle efforts with their brain's natural cyclical rhythms. They know their focus is their most valuable asset, period. And finally, Section 5, Evolving Your Self-Worth. This brilliantly illustrates our final shift. The profound mental evolution where you fundamentally change how you view your own value and output. Working for yourself means your self-worth finally outgrows the need for a paycheck to just be a mere reward. In a traditional setup, you're basically conditioned to see income as a gold star given to you by an authority figure for good behavior. But the independent mind shifts this entirely. You start to see income as something created by your own systems. It isn't granted to you, it's built by you. Escaping this whole wait for permission mindset gets you out of the imaginary scenario trap. You know the trap. Sitting at your desk, just hoping a boss magically notices your hard work and hands you a promotion. By stepping into real-world action, you choose true autonomy over public popularity. You stop caring about office status, and you start caring about building tangible working systems in the real world. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to really carry with you today. You aren't antisocial. You are just wired for a completely different type of freedom. So ask yourself right now, are you ready to stop relying on someone else's permission and start building your own survival independence? Is your income a reflection of your own systems or someone else's permission? Really think about how your environment is shaping your nervous system and take that first step toward the true autonomy you're wired for. Thanks for joining me, and keep building.